Hello, welcome back to our channel, Stock the Off-Road Machine. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, keep up to date with our channels. A lot more to come, a lot more mistakes, and a lot more off-road adventures.
3, 2, 1, hardwired.
Welcome back to all my Storm fams. This is going to be another epic video by Stock the Off-Road Machine. This is me installing the head on my zd30. Hopefully I can share a couple of tips and pointers. First thing you want to do is go get yourself some good decent scotch pads for your drill and whatnot to clean off where the head gasket goes or any of the gaskets. Make sure it's as clean as you possibly can get them to make sure every gasket sticks to the nice clean surface. Do what you can. Get it as clean as possible. Make sure it's nice, smooth and flat without any big deep gouges or anything like that, because that will cause it to leak. And you want to get yourself a decent former gasket or something like that. I use JB World Ultimate on all my gaskets now, since I've had so many other problems with every other former gasket and whatnot. And as you can see, right out the front of the head there, you got a plate in between the water coolant jacket and the timing chain, and that puts the water into the head. I made sure I put former gasket on both sides of the metal gasket to make sure it seals properly, because I had got advice about it leaking there before and having to rip off the head completely again and redo the whole thing. So yet again, take your time, make sure everything's clean, put it together nice and easy. Make sure you use a good brake clean on your head to remove any of the production oils, because that will stop the head gasket and any gasket sealing to the head properly. So make sure you clean everything as best as you can, and make sure all the studs go in that help you line everything up. This here is the back studs for the oil drain pipe. Make sure you put them in first, because if you don't put them in, you ain't getting them in once the head's in there, because the studs are too long to fit in between the firewall and the back of the head. And as you can see, now the head's on. It was a little bit of a struggle, but I ended up getting there by myself. And yeah, just take your time. Take it nice and easy. Do everything slow. Make sure everything's done properly, put together perfectly, and you won't run into any troubles along the way. I ended up having a coolant leak once I started and tested the engine, and I suspect that it's coming from the thermostat housing. I'll keep you up to date as I go along and end up finding that coolant leak and putting it all back together properly. But at the moment, I've kind of had to go to work, so it's been a long week of putting this thing back together, but I got it back together, started, just ended up having a little bit of a coolant leak. It only took 4 days, so yet again, just take your time, pulling it apart, putting it back together, and you won't run into any problems once again. Take your time, get a good workshop manual, do everything to torque specs, and everything will go sweetly and smoothly and no problems. Please make sure all your timing's top dead center and all the marks are on line. Make sure the CCs line up on your diesel pump and everything like that. Turn the engine over by hand before you go ahead, put it all back together and start it up by the starter motor. You'll mostly end up bending a valve if it's slightly off or something like that. These are known as an interference motor, so if it's off even by the slightest, it's going to hit your valve and destroy your engine completely, mostly damage a piston in the process, damage the new head that you just bought and put on the car. So take your time, get all the timing dead on, turn it over by hand, make sure it turns freely, a good 3 to 4 turns without anything interfering or binding or hitting on top of the pistons. Apart from that, you should be good if you spent your time and put everything together properly and made sure it's all top dead center and all the timing marks line up on the inside of the engine. You won't run into any problems or have any issues when you go to start up the car, just like I didn't. All that I had with a little bit of an issue was the airlock inside of the injectors. All that you have to do is break off the injector lines, leave them loose, let the diesel come up and fill up the injector, and you should be fine from there to start your car and give it a bit of a test run. Always, once you replace the head, start your car without any coolant in it. Let the engine warm up a little bit. Don't let it overheat. Just let it build up some temperature to melt the glue on the head gasket and make it seal and bind properly, and you shouldn't run into any problems there. I still got a little bit of blow by, but I'm hoping that goes away once all the seals start expanding with the oil and everything else on them and seal properly. So once the engine gets warm for the first time and actually hits full operation temperature, I hope that all the blow-by is completely gone. Okay, people, we ended up finding that water leak. It was just the radiator hose on top of the engine that was leaking, running down underneath the engine and making it look like it was coming from the passenger side right to the thermostat housing. So that one was a little bit tricky to find, but we ended up finding it. We're back up and running now. The ZD30 is running sweet, back up on the road. We also got to introduce Mike's new rig, the Toyota Land Cruiser 80 series. We're going to be holding a competition to name that 80 series on our socials, TikTok, Insta, Facebook. Hit them up. Keep an eye out for the competition. There's going to be a prize at the end. We're still working out what that prize is going to be, but there will be a prize. There's going to be some upcoming videos of the 80 series as well to help you name the 80 series. Get involved, name the 80 series, help us out. Thank you for everyone for watching another Epic Storm video. Keep tuned for more. Hit the like and subscribe button and visit our online store and help us run this channel.
We could be legend. I have nothing to lose. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. Wake up. I know what's real. Escape reality. Hardwired.